Hello everybody, welcome to Blood Bowl. I'm Complacent Badger.
I'm Sierra Kilo.
We are watching Crazy 8's versus Re-AWOOO-ken.
I'm ready for it.
230 team value difference?
I'll concur with that.
Excellent.
There was no carrying of anything.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I
know how you feel about carrying stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. But big caveat before we start the game, I am aware that the Crazy 8's coach did not turn on the function to ask for using skills.
Oh, now I understand why he posted that.
Yeah, obviously the terminology was not exactly the way that we know it as, but Master Moose elaborated on it, and
He divined it.
yeah, and you'll notice that the skill that Helgrim the Blood King just picked up is piling on,
Which is awesome.
Plus, he just got his cool little Khorne helmet.
I don't know why he needs a helmet.
Well, it's less, I guess, less of a helmet and more of a look at this giant Khorne symbol on my head.
Could be. Is it a crown? Is it a crown?
Yeah, I guess, because he is the Blood King. I always want to call him Bloodgrim the Hell King.
I never get that. That's where we differ.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
Whoa.
That is an immediate
reroll for pickup, but I mean it's a good one to do it for.
Yeah, I would routinely reroll a pickup.
Mm-hmm. Flesh golems are so funny when they start leveling up because they get all those apparati.
Yep.
Oh, immediately. Which herald was that? Was that big boy? No.
That was
the level 3.
That's still no fun.
Yeah. So whole team has frenzy, and he still gets into those traps of getting pushed off the side.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, you gotta be cognizant of those frenzy players. Oh no, piling on. But he sure did stun that zombie.
Stunned the shit out of that zombie. Mighty blow hit twice. I remember the first time I had a big guy with piling on, and I did the exact same thing. It just didn't register with my brain that you needed to change that setting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're afraid to do anything with him, because that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to be on the ground all the time.
Yeah, I mean, obviously going to be beating a dead horse a little bit, and we're not really doing it for the purpose of telling the coach, but just everybody in general, the importance of remembering, even like right now, if you don't have anybody and you have the time right now, just go to your settings and ask for at least the big ones, if not all of them.
That's fair. There are a few that are autos, like your dodges or reroll catches and stuff like that. But aside, whoa, badly hurt. There it goes.
And no regen, so that was good. Getting those SPPs.
So that's not. I mean, I feel like he was upset about it enough to say something. So it's probably going to go wrong now that we're just waiting for it to go wrong. But so far so good with it.
Yeah, I mean, he let those flesh golems go, which was unfortunate. I think standing and dancing with those flesh golems would have been a lot better than putting your own guy down right in between them just to go for a zombie. But all things considered, getting a zombie off the pitch for the game, that's pretty rare.
Right.
Not too necessary either. Not like zombies are great or anything, but...
Well, hey, they do their job. If they tie up a character, that's all they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they can tie up a positional. Super.
Now, did he walk that pit fighter up against that flesh golem? I want to say he did. Or else
I think he might have. Or the flesh golem.
Because the flesh golem didn't move. It just started.
I don't think I don't think that he put the flesh golem into contact on the corner.
Yeah, it had to have been the pit fighter that walked up to it. Yeah, don't just walk up to strength 4 guys. They're gonna hurt you. Oh.
Wow.
Hey, but a regen.
Regen. There you go.
That's good.
Regen coming in handy.
Yeah. So just pretty brutal game so far.
That's what you're going to get with these two teams, I think. That's you got the two flesh golems, and then Helgrim.
Yeah, most definitely. And then the positionals in the Necromantic team aren't pushovers either. I mean, they've got
No, for sure.
block and claw and whatnot. Ooh, boy. One die putting himself down on an attacker down.
That's no fun.
Stunning himself even. That claw making it just a little bit easier.
Right?
And goodbye, player. Yep. So it's 2 players off the pitch.
And those are the easy ones to defend against. That's you have all the decisions on whether or not that guy is within range of the sidelines.
Yeah. I think that might would have been a push that got near the sideline, and then he did that one die into an attacker down, so he never got a chance to right it.
That's fair.
But I mean, don't do a one die.
Nah, that's we can't go into firm lines on that. I know you want to. I know you want that to be the message to the world, but we've seen it effectively used this season.
Yes, but
we've seen it used in less than ideal circumstances that have led to horrible things as well. But
I have seen it more often used in poor taste than in actual good plans. So pretty rudimentary touchdown for the Necromantic team, just kind of walking a werewolf in there.
And that's what they needed to do, was use that mobility advantage, that movement allowance going for days.
So I think the big deal there was, I didn't get to see, because we kind of got on some tangents there, but I didn't get to really see the defensive setup for the Crazy Eights, but I felt like they didn't run a safety on the right side. If you have a team that has the movement capabilities that the Necromantic do, you just need to have a guy over there, because there's going to be somebody that laterals.
Yeah, I think he may have originally, but what it came down to was he brought everybody over because he felt like he was at a strength disadvantage, because Helgrim was held up by a zombie up top, and the 2 strength 4s are getting work done.
He's got break tackle, man. He should never be held up. Helgrim should be in the mix every play. He's got break tackle. So
got him, coach.
KO that werewolf. Goodbye.
That's what you get for getting a touchdown.
Another important thing to think about with making sure that piling on, like even if you're like, no, I don't need to turn it on at question because I always want to do it. Sometimes I will not opt to piling on when it's already a KO because it can get worse. It can be a stunned.
You're right. I had forgotten about that. That had happened to me a couple times, and it's super frustrating.
Yeah, you're like, I would have kept the KO. Yeah, so that is the bare bones reason why I would turn it on. Again, not trying to slam on Axe and Jackson. We all make mistakes, so.
Yeah, and that's a pretty common one, because when you go into a situation where you never have to think about activating your abilities, and then all of a sudden you're playing a match and your stuff is triggering without you realizing it, you're like, spaghetti-o.
Yep. All right, so not a great setup here. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much of an overextend without the ability to protect it.
Right. I think that he was looking for that end of half touchdown where he was willing to extend a little bit in hopes. But we'll see.
Yeah, I guess with the remaining turns, you just got to go for it and hope that it works out.
Trying to even that bad boy up.
Yeah, but that badly hurt's gonna...
Hurt badly?
Yeah, it's gonna be costly. And that loner.
All right.
So we're going into the second half, 1-0.
So Re-AWOOO-ken did their job getting one per half. Crazy Eights had a little bit of trouble getting there, but look what the opportunity is now. Full 8 turns, receiving the ball.
So one of the Crazy 8's KOs coming back, but not the other two. So he's actually going into this half with 2 players down.
Right.
And arguably a strength disadvantage. Helgrim makes up for it, but ooh. I think having 2 strength 4s is better than 1 strength 5.
I'd agree with that. I've come across this team.
So Helgrim takes out another werewolf, right? Both werewolves
Right.
are now gone.
But I think that he did regen. No.
Maybe the other one was a KO, or maybe it was a regen. I don't know. But
No,
one of
they're
them
both
is
there.
gone without a regen. And still,
They were both in there.
there was a zombie in there.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Doing work.
And then the other werewolf's right here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the trick of it. I mean, if Action Jackson hadn't told me that he didn't intend to use that every time, I wouldn't have known the difference, because it's pretty. It's a little funny looking taking him down all the time, but that's the goal of that. That's what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to get that double.
Yeah, but I think especially when you have one player with piling on, that you have to be very careful that you're not doing it too early in the game and not opening up lanes.
No, I'm with you. Especially when you have the ability to keep hold of one of those strength 4s with your strength 5 character.
Yeah.
That's when the difference is going to be, when you lose those tackle zones every time you move.
And I've also kind of been against giving wild animal players piling on, because they're like the only.
Be hurt.
Yeah, it's a lot of injuries going around. But they're like the only big guys that actually benefit from. Oh, I think he was looking for a push on that one.
Sure was.
They're the only big guys that kind of have a little bit of a benefit from their penalty ability.
In that even if they don't move, they still keep their tackle zones.
Yeah.
When they're standing.
So when you use piling on, it puts them on the ground. That kind of sucks.
Right.
Double push. That's a bummer.
But let's talk about that. In this, a level 5 character like that with his build, do you think that there were? I mean, obviously you think that there were better options. So you want to talk about those real quick. What do you think you get
In place of piling on?
place of piling on?
I think piling on is a decent choice. It's not mine, but I also play differently than others.
Right.
I think grab. Actually, you can't have grab with frenzy. So, I think with the strength disadvantage that he has, guard might have been a good choice.
We're starting to see that, and I'm starting to play against dudes who've got quite a bit of guard on the team, and that's pretty frustrating when used effectively. And I've got it on a couple of my guys, but I don't think that I use it effectively.
Yeah, because what makes it scary is that you got, let's say you've got your cage set up, Helgrim goes in there, blitzes, crushes the dude, and then he still, happens to be adjacent to another guy who's also contesting the cage, boosting that guy up to a strength 4. Or your horns guy rolls in and he becomes a strength 5 now.
That was a sneaky star player point.
Yeah, it's just whoop, and then bail.
What, are we playing rugby now?
And cut out all this ball movement. But yeah, I think the force multiplier that a guard choice might have been worthwhile. But I mean, pile on, you can kind of make Helgrim into an assassin.
Right.
I mean,
he's used it effectively.
I mean, he's taken out like 3 or 4 players in 2 or 3 drives. So.
Yep.
It's not
but
going
at the
to
same
waste.
time, yeah, he's forced to play this style instead of choosing to play this style.
Yeah.
Is the issue. But I don't see, aside from what the score, if we just focus on that one player and what he's doing a good job making good use of that and not showing a huge disadvantage. I'd like to have seen him having the ability to use it or not. And we're going to go into next week and be able to see that for sure.
Yeah, that was a quick turnover. It was a failed dodge right off the bat. Yep. My main issue with it is I think, as we've seen now, the third score for the last part of the game. I think my main issue with it, and he obviously didn't have control of it, but he was constantly using Helgrim to beat the blitzer to kind of break up that cage. But then Helgrim automatically lays himself down, and it's just like, okay, so you killed the one guy holding the cage. Now I'm just gonna leave.
Right.
Had he been there standing, he could actually harry the opponent a little bit and make it not only have to make a decision, but also roll dice.
Good point. That is a solid point.
So I think that's where piling on is a disadvantage, because you really gotta. It's one of those abilities that, like, you either have to do it against players that aren't participating in the ball carrying or ball protection to get them off the pitch somehow, or you have to wait until you already have a player advantage.
Good call.
Crazy Eights. I think right now you're just you have a high team value, but you don't really have players. It's a weird situation that you're in, that you're kind of just. You're dealing with a lot of injuries, a lot of you've got Helgrim, who's taking up like something crazy, like almost 300 of your salary. You have
probably 280 or something. Yeah, 300 maybe.
Yeah, he's probably at 270, I think, right now for just Helgrim. You have him, and then maybe Khorne, who's decent, but for the most part, your teams, you don't have a lot there, and then you have very few players. But your team value is huge, so you're still giving inducements at the same time of not really having a team. So I think that's where this came in, is just that with the few injuries, your team just kind of got outnumbered, and when this team gets outnumbered with that movement allowance that you don't have compared to the Necromantic team, they're just going to score on you.
Yep. That's what it turned into.
Yeah. You just couldn't cover all the lanes, and then the Necromantic could just capitalize on that. I think the Necromantic played a really good game.
I second that.
Don't really have anything for them. But yeah, I think this game's kind of not a really good representation of the Crazy Eights, just because I think the piling on was a bigger deal than it may have looked.
No, I agree with that, because knowing that that's there is going to throw your whole strategy off. So when you go into a match and have a strategy and try to stick to it, and then you get thrown a curveball like that, it's tough to recover from. But, I think that's a fun skill to have, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he uses it when he wants to use it, instead of being forced to use it all the time. But,
yeah.
all in all, I mean, that was an enjoyable game to watch. I had fun watching it. A lot of bashing, and a good couple rollouts for Re-AWOOO-ken as well. Overall, good job.
Yep. We'll see what piling on and Helgrim have to do in week 7. But until then, great game for the Necromantic, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.